Well, it's the middle of the day on November 16th. I just got out for my morning hunt, and I'm actually going to go to another location this afternoon. It was kind of a disappointing, slow morning. Saw one 2-year-old buck, and that makes 2 sits now in the past week to 10 days that I've had in here during the prime part of the rut, and I've seen a total of 1 deer. And on my way out here, I've been following the shore looking for footprints to see if there's been a lot of hunting pressure in here, and sure enough there is. There's several sets of tracks going in and out right here, and this is just a couple hundred yards from where I've been hunting. So I'm guessing that's why I haven't been seeing anything in this spot. In fact, I had a trail camera up in there in front of the stand, and somebody had stolen the card out of it, so I don't even know really what's been going through there. Thankfully, they didn't steal the camera, and that's part of public land hunting. 1 year, you got the spot to yourself and see great deer activity. The next year, there may be a bunch of people hunting in here, so you just have to learn to adapt and move on. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hop back in the kayak here, load up in the truck, and drive to another spot about 45 minutes away. There's a creek bottom that we've hunted a couple times in the last week to 10 days. And there's an area in there that's really caught my attention on the map, so I'm excited to go check that out. And hopefully we'll be up in a tree by about 2 o'clock. Well, I just got to the area that I'm going to hunt this afternoon, and I'm driving around and checking different access points along this piece of public land. And that's an important part of our scouting, is not only learning about deer activity in these areas, but also other hunting activity that's going on. Aaron and I have hunted here collectively 3 times now in the last 2 weeks, and we've yet to see another bow hunter. We have seen a group of pheasant hunters, but that's probably not really going to affect what we're doing. And that's typically what we find this time of the year, is that most of the hunting pressure takes place during the first 2 weeks of November when people are taking their vacation. And then after the middle of the month, the hunting pressure seems to really fall off, and that's actually when we have some of our best hunts. So anyways, I'm excited to get down into this creek bottom. It looks like a perfect travel corridor to catch a buck cruising between bedding areas. If it's as good as it looks on the map, it should be a pretty interesting evening. Kind of wish I would have checked this spot out earlier, but still have some good days left to hunt here. Well, I'm just starting to head down in the creek bottom right now. As you can see, big timber, creek bottom narrows down, then it broadens back out to more rolling timber. I'm not real excited about being out in the wide open right now, so I'm going to hug this tree line over here and work my way down into that creek bottom and hopefully get set up in short order here. Well, I just got down in here where the ditches meet. I think this is going to be perfect. There's the big main ditch right there, and then a smaller ditch right here, and they meet about 25 yards out right there, 30 yards out maybe. And from what I can see so far, there is a beaten trail coming off of that ridge, like I hope there would be, crossing the ditch. And then there's a couple other trails just right here in front. Got a tree right here that'll be ideal. Well, that didn't take long. That was a big-bodied 9-pointer, 10-pointer maybe. He came off that ridge, caught me off guard. I was still kind of getting things ready, just getting set up. Heard something walking in the leaves. I look up and he was maybe 60 yards away, coming right towards me. By the time I got a range on him, he had just made it through the shooting lane and started to angle away, and then just got behind too much brush. So just wasn't able to make it happen. But that is the challenge of self-filming. It's not easy. Oftentimes they get away just like that. It's hard to put it all together and still get decent video. I mean, I could have zoomed way out wide and probably pulled something off. But I'm trying to make it as good as possible, and that was still a really cool encounter. It was encouraging to have the deer do exactly what I thought they would. I got the range on that spot now, so if another one does that, it'll be in trouble. Well, it's about 4 o'clock right now, and activity's picked up in the last half hour here. Of course, I started off seeing that nice buck that came off of the ridge down through the creek, and since then I've seen 5 other deer. There was a doe followed by a 2-year-old buck, and then 3 more does came off the ridge and worked their way down through the creek bottom using pretty much the same trail, I believe. And that was about 100 yards out, so there's probably a major crossing over there. And of course, there's just a network of trails right in front of the stand here. I mean, there's one that comes up past about 8 yards away. There's multiple trails that cross where these ditches come together. There's one that's about 12 yards. That buck stayed down in the ditch. He was about 28 yards. So everything just comes together right here. I've got about an hour left at this point. Hopefully the activity will continue, but I'm really liking this spot so far. There's a buck right there. But got him. Man, oh man, I cannot believe that worked out. That buck was 8 yards away. And just about everything that could go wrong did go wrong. When he crossed the ditch there, I pushed the camera head to let him walk into the frame. Well, the camera that I'm using isn't heavy enough, and I didn't have enough tension on the fluid head, so it sprung up on me. So I had to get that tightened back down, and here he's at 15 yards walking closer. So I get the camera in front of him again, walks into frame, and now I'm using Zach's release. And the one that I've always used, I've had it for probably close to 25 years. I lost it last week, and normally it just stays in position where I need it to. Well, I haven't practiced for self-filming with this release, and it hangs down and it's flopping there, and I cannot get a hold of it. So I'm struggling to get a hold of it and get it rotated and clipped on. Well, the deer walks out of frame again. So now he's at about 10 yards, coming up this little rise. So I get the camera on him again. He walks into frame where I need him to. I stop him before I'm even at full draw, got the bow pulled back, and put the arrow right behind his shoulder, and he's down 100 yards away. It's been a pretty slow November for me. Started off November 1st, filmed Luke Nissen kill a giant, and since then, I really haven't seen any kind of decent shooter buck until 2 o'clock today. But we always talk about it, the whole team aspect of hunting on the public land here, and even private land with our friends. You know, it just doesn't get more fun, more rewarding, sharing in success and failures and learning together. And I mean, even my wife has been getting in on the excitement this year as we started up a new venture. Every night we get back in, she makes us a big supper, makes food for us to take to the stands. Got to get on the phone and let people know the good news. We got another deer to get out. I'm definitely going to need the entire crew for this one, because that deer went down in the creek bottom, and we've got to drag it out that steep hill behind me there through the CRP. That's what I love about hunting on public land. Love the adventure, love the challenge, especially love it when it all comes together like that. All right, well, we got the crew here, all 6 of us. It's probably going to take all 6 to get this thing out. You know he's down, but we'll have the fun of blood trailing, and then we go have a look at him.
Yeah, let's go. Get that ball rolling now. Get that ball rolling.
All right.
I almost died, I think.
That fall?
Yeah. Like, not too far from that fence.
You need to be more careful what you're doing, Aaron.
Right here, a bunch. This is a really good example of how, if you ever get confused for some reason, what direction the deer went, blood oftentimes will tell you, just by the way it
Splattered forward.
just splattered forward on the leaves.
You got to be right up here close.
I would imagine.
Right here.
There's a deer.
There he is, right there. Sweet. Oh man, Greg, he's a 10-pointer, Greg.
Oh.
Or
Oop,
no,
watch.
I guess he broke that brow tine there.
Watch that arrow there.
Look at that. Yeah, man, he's sweet. We're gonna be eating good.
That's awesome.
We got all kinds of tags filled this week.
Yes. That's
We're gonna have freezers full, more pizza pockets.
Pizza pockets.
Well, after a tough start to November, we've been filling a bunch of tags lately here.
Yeah, we tend to have more success, especially on public land towards the middle part of the month, you know, for whatever the reason. But it's definitely been the case on the public and private land for us. I mean, we've killed just about, our small group anyway, has killed almost a buck a day for the last week. Is that right?
Yeah. In a short span.
Ted Miller killed one.
Ted Miller,
you
encountered an absolute giant.
And we've seen tons of mature bucks. I mean, walk us through the
Yeah.
hunt. You were just telling me that you had a mature buck right before this guy come in.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. I just got the stand set up. Was still kind of getting stuff ready to go. Hadn't ranged anything, hadn't really looked at my surroundings. I just got the camera gear ready, and then I heard something coming. I look across the creek, and here's a big guy.
Cruising, I guess?
Cruising at 2 o'clock.
Yep.
I just described it as a self-filming rodeo tonight. that first one that came through, I would have really liked to have shot him, but he stayed down in the ditch.
Yep.
And when he finally got in the clear, he was far enough away that I felt I needed to range him. Because I had trouble, the depth perception was weird with him down in the creek, like I could tell exactly how far he was. Got a range on him, but by that time he had made it through the shooting lane and was gone. He got out to about 75 yards, and I tried grunting at him, and in desperation to try to bring him back, but he wasn't having any part of it. It was just too open right there. He could see, and had just been right from where I was calling from.
You know, our tactics in late October and even very early November were much different than they are now.
Yeah.
And the fact that right now we're just throwing stands at everything that we possibly can and trying to be in the woods as much as possible.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why you were self-filming tonight, is because we needed to be in the tree, as many of us as possible, to give us an opportunity at one of these cruising bucks.
Yeah, one of the fun parts of hunting public land, and we're fortunate to have so much around here, is learning new areas.
Yep.
And we just started learning this creek bottom.
Yeah, we've only hunted this just a couple of times.
You twice, myself twice.
Yeah, a couple hunts later, you fine-tuned strategy a little bit and got in the honey hole.
Yeah. I had a slow hunt this morning and was kind of frustrated with the spot that was really good last year. It's where Aaron shot his muzzleloader doe, and there's a lot of good bucks in that area last year, but there's an increase in human pressure in that area. There was tracks all over the shore, and just wasn't seeing deer like I had been or had anticipated. So I started thinking about other areas, and we'd hunted this creek bottom a couple times, and I knew farther to the west of where we were really caught my interest, because there's the big main ditch that runs through, and then I noticed there's a smaller ditch that joins it. So there's kind of like a confluence of ditches right there.
I was just talking about that the other day. It kind of forms a hub almost with all the terrain features that come together.
Yeah, ditches coming together, and then big rolling timber coming down and meeting creek bottom, and then going back up to another rolling block of timber.
Yep.
And this creek bottom was just a natural
Travel
corridor. And then specifically right in front of the stand there was where those ditches met, and like I said, a hub.
You brought up a good point about being frustrated with the spot this morning, and I think there's a lot of people that maybe hunt public land that get kind of thrown off by a change in pressure. That's something that we see all the time, and I don't know how many people have told us, oh, it's too bad about the buck nest getting, people pressure. I don't mind that at all. If we just bounce to the next spot.
No, we just
learn
monitor
new
it.
areas.
Learn new areas is exactly right.
Yeah.
That's why learning new areas, like you said, and bouncing around. I mean, that's how we kill a lot of these bucks in the rut.
Yeah.
Is we just bounce from one to the next. Like, we have so much left to learn on all these spots, and this is just in Iowa.
Yeah.
Not to mention the other states that we've been. So it's just going to be this ongoing thing forever. It's sweet.
Yeah.
Like
we're very fortunate in this area to have so much public land and a variety.
Right.
Yep.
Diverse habitat, multiple different habitats that we get to learn, and it's awesome. It's a blast.
This stretch of the road, we've driven it a couple times in the last week, and it's been a ghost town as far as deer hunters, maybe some pheasant hunters. But when I came down in here tonight, I was thinking, there's no way there's not going to be a stand somewhere close by, because it made sense on a map. When I got down in here, it looked so good. I was like, somebody's got to have a stand, but there wasn't any sign.
All to yourself
other hunters,
tonight.
All to myself, and the deer were moving early. Yeah, mature buck, 2 o'clock on his feet. So
it's still part of the scouting process.
Yep.
Like, driving down the road and observing every little thing is part of the process.
Yep. Well, it's quite the adventure in the tree tonight. Self-filming.
Yes.
Having one get away. This one almost got away, but stuck around just long enough.
Yep. And now we've got a fun ride out of here.
The drag out is going to be just as much of an adventure. Thankful we've got the entire crew here, including my wife.
Yep.
Hopefully Mindy's fresh and ready to pull the cart up the hill.
It does have a crooked wheel.
She got a little bit of a bum leg right now. Hopefully she'll
be all right. She's been toting a lot of deer out here lately. But,
seen a lot of miles recently.
It'll make it. Let's get to it.
Hopefully a few more before the end of the season.
Amen.
Good job, Greg.
Awesome buck, man.
Rolling there.
Rolling, Jake.
Yep. Ooh, weak.
Oh, the old
Third one got it.
Locust
Third one
storm.
got it.
Oh.
Well, after a tough start to November, we've been filling a bunch of tags lately here.
Yeah, we talked about it at the end of the month, too. I mean, we were starting to get worried there for sure, but did I say at the end of the month?
Yeah.
I said it. Sorry, Greg. Go ahead. I'll get it right this time.
Quit being stupid.
The worst.
Good?
Are we rolling on that?
Yep. Ho! That'll do it. At the very least, the hoe got it.
I can't clap. What can I say?
You might have the wrong species there.
Primates.
That's a peacock.
Okay.
Right here making critter noises.
Wow.
We ready?
Yeah, Greg, whatever you think.